Yep.
Hello, everyone. This is Chala Dinkoy, CEO and founder of the Repositioning Expert, coming to you with another edition of the podcast, Naked Marketing, where we talk about our honest, vulnerable marketing mistakes. And today I have Terry Doloughty with us. Terry, welcome.
Hello, hello.
Hi. So tell us who you help and what you do.
Well, I help small business people, entrepreneurs that have usually a community connection. And I also work with nonprofit executives.
Nice.
I help people get past mindset challenges, past perceptions, and some of the trauma that builds up being a community leader or a small business owner.
Wow. How did you get into this?
Sort of by accident, of course. I've done a lot of community work. I've trained a lot of small business owners by accident. I used to be the board troubleshooter for an organization where I would go out and work with boards of directors, and I stopped things from getting to the newspaper that would have. And I also managed the Pittsburgh public market for a time and inadvertently helped coach a lot of small businesses through all the challenges they were meeting.
But did you have a corporate job before?
Well, for about 23 years, I managed an industrial commercial warehouse that sold plumbing supplies to schools and hospitals.
Oh my God.
Yeah,
so you were in
across
a
the country.
managerial position the whole time.
What's that?
You were in a managerial position that whole time.
Yeah.
And then you're translating that now into giving, wisdom and mentorship and coaching.
Mhm.
So go ahead.
Well, I can say the nonprofit work was just as much of a education for myself and the nonprofit executives as well. Because if you're not running a nonprofit like a small business and really checking your cost of goods and what you're delivering and the ROI, you're not going to succeed.
So it's so interesting that a guy who is so rooted in all that, the numbers, the metrics, the hard stuff is now teaching about the soft stuff. How did that come about?
Well, I started to see where the results were really making a difference. There's a lot of places you can go and you can learn about a spreadsheet. You can learn about, how long is a payback? How do you forecast?
Yeah.
There's a lot of help. There's apps out there that'll do that now. But I started working with small business owners in communities that had experienced poverty. You can't charge what you need for your business to be sustainable if you have a bad relationship with money.
Yeah.
And if your self-worth is damaged, and you don't value yourself, then you can't market yourself because you'll have all kind of roadblocks in the way.
Wow.
So I started to see that when you worked on the human side, the results were bigger than working on the metric side.
So I'm just curious, how do you go get clients? I mean, this is a show about marketing. So how do they come to you? Or, aside from word of mouth, obviously you've built 28 years of a career, but other than that, how do you get them?
Well, I do have to say word of mouth has been fantastic.
Yeah.
And really it's someone it's the warmest call you could ever have because you've been pre-vetted by someone.
Sure.
I have to say Google has been fantastic, claiming my Google page and getting my 13th 5-star review out there.
Okay.
That made a hell of a difference.
That's amazing. So I've never really met a coach that has a Google review. That's hilarious. Google reviews are for restaurants and for plumbers.
Yeah, I'm on my 13th 5-star review at this point.
That's wonderful. And I always was asking clients to give me reviews on LinkedIn. So,
But sorry, the greatest thing, I eventually over time, I broke down and I have a whole team now of people that help me to keep this thing running. I had someone else send out the request for testimonials and the request for reviews, and people felt more open to give it than me asking directly.
Yeah, because there's services. There's actually companies that do that. I don't know if you engaged one or you have someone internally to do that, but that's fabulous. Now, what keywords would they be looking for?
Well, stuck.
Okay.
What were some? Stuck anxiety, stressed.
But there's nothing about business or CEO or anything?
Well,
Because
there's actually a lot of words about leadership.
okay, right. So they actually go together because then you could have like prenatal moms calling you.
Well, the nonprofits that I've worked with are everything from daycare
Uh-huh.
to food rescue to veterans, and it's been really interesting. I work for a number of different foundations, and they pay for me to go into communities that have traditionally experienced poverty,
Right.
and I work on those mindset challenges and get the small business owners to the point where they can earn enough money to start building intergenerational wealth.
Wow. I mean, it's amazing because I had to pay hundreds and thousands of dollars to coaches to get me out of my immigrant, Chala Dinko immigrant name, my immigrant background to get over that mindset. So it's amazing. Did you have to learn from someone, or did you just learn it by reading or by osmosis, or were you just born that way?
I had to make a ton of mistakes.
Hmm.
And I had to look at the different times in my life when I undervalued myself, when I
Right.
sold myself short, when I put barriers in my own way and said, that's for other people, that's not for you.
Hmm.
And as I started to move forward in helping other people, I started to see all the parallels.
Hmm.
And I started to see that when you have that issue in your corporate job, it's a problem about that big. When
Right.
you're out there trying to run a business, that
Yeah.
problem is now that
Yeah.
big.
Exactly. I know exactly what you mean. Yeah,
So
because
I became my own case study, and over the decades, as I've gotten myself out of my own way,
yeah,
it has helped me to have firsthand experience to get the clients out of their way.
absolutely. Now, because you specialize in that stock anxiety, all those, hot words, what happened to the business during COVID? It either exploded or, people retreated. What happened to you?
I got busier.
Right. Because of those words, right?
Yeah, I actually launched a curriculum that was called Leadership Resiliency,
Right.
and a lot of people were trying to. They were just behind everything.
Yeah.
They were trying to solve problems after they occurred.
Yeah.
So I started to put together a weekly curriculum to get people to start working on having the tools they needed before a problem arose.
Right.
And that was really helpful.
That's great. Now, let's talk about some marketing mistakes. I know you have one you want to share with us. So tell us what your naked marketing mistake was.
Well, I think I made the same mistake, again, firsthand case study that every other small business owner makes. You tell yourself, if I do it, it's free. It doesn't cost me anything.
Yeah.
Right. Okay. Well, that makes sense to me.
Yeah.
So I tried to do all my Facebook, my LinkedIn. I tried to do my, all the little things out there. I tried to do it myself
Wow.
with no SEO background to it, no nothing. And I went out and I built my own webpage, and it really sucked.
Oh.
So
So what
eventually,
happened? Like, what happened to the business? How did you learn not to do that? What happened?
well, what happened from the marketing side was absolutely nothing.
Zero. Goose
Mhm.
egg, right? Yeah.
Yeah. So I noticed that my word of mouth was getting me by, but that wasn't how I was going to grow. And my clients, again, upstream and downstream mentoring. I'm looking at the money my clients are spending on their websites, and it's like, okay, okay, okay. So I reached out to an acquaintance of mine that we both facilitate small business owner meetings, and he happens to run a marketing company.
Right.
And I went out and I had a coffee with him, and it was like, love to work with you. And he goes, yeah, we can probably get something off the ground for maybe about 10 grand or so. And I did
Yeah.
but I said, you know what? I'm going to invest in myself.
Good for you. Good for you.
So I put the money out there. Harold, big shout out to Harold. He brought on his team of the SEO guy, the web hosting guy,
Right.
ghostwriter,
Right.
behind the scenes, everything.
Very cool.
And the bossconsulting.biz website came to life,
Mhm.
and we're doing fresh content every week on the blog. We've got Instagram going, Facebook going. I'll be launching a private Facebook group this year before the
Nice.
end of the year.
Nice.
And yeah, we've now that I have the team in place,
Yeah.
I just, of course, tell myself I should have spent the marketing money earlier.
Well, that is a good lesson learned. Thank you so much. Now, what final parting advice do you have about marketing?
Get somebody outside of your own head to
Mm.
look at what you're doing.
Got it.
You need somebody who is an impartial observer to tell you that product line is profitable, that service is profitable. Stop doing that.
Yeah.
And you need that outside expert, and
Yeah.
you need somebody who is not attached to it to give you that diagnosis
Yeah.
of where you need to put your efforts and where you need to put your money.
I love that. That is excellent advice. Now, where could people reach you, Terry?
Well, you can find me at bossconsulting.biz. You can find me on LinkedIn and on Facebook and on Instagram. You can follow me as the Accidental Entrepreneur.
Very nice. Love that name. Thank you so much for being a guest, Terry.
Glad to, and great show. I've been enjoying your YouTube videos, and I'm going to continue to enjoy them.
Thank you. You'll be starring in the next one.